Hi everyone, welcome to episode 131 of A Stitch in Time. Today is Wednesday, March 4th, 2020, and you are getting the Casual Wednesday edition of the podcast. I need to go out in a few hours to take my grandson to swimming lessons. His younger sister has been sick this week, so she's still too sick to go. My daughter's working, my son-in-law needs to stay home with my granddaughter, and so grandma to the rescue. But that means I only have a few hours this afternoon to record, edit, upload, etc. So I decided just to sit down with all my things around me here, not worry about makeup and getting dressed up and all that stuff. And so you got me freeform today. If you have watched Vlogmas in the past, you'll recognize this background. This is our spare bedroom downstairs that looks out onto the backyard. So if you see me doing this, it's because I've seen a bird or something interesting out there. Speaking of birds, this morning I caught this picture of a hawk that has made it a regular habit to sit in the tree just past the line of our backyard. And I was out earlier also just bringing garbage cans and stuff in, today's garbage day, and caught sight of the crocuses that are blooming, the heather is in bloom, definitely signs of spring. So I thought you might enjoy a few pictures here. I think that's it for preamble. Well, I guess I should say, if you are new to the podcast, hello, welcome. Thanks for stopping by and checking things out. I hope you like what you see and that you'll be back. Normally, I record in my craft room, so things look a little different as a rule, but today I'm mixing it up a bit. And of course, if you're a returning viewer, you know that. Thanks for coming back and spending some time with me. Thanks also to all of you who did reach out this past week. I always do love hearing from you and appreciate that you take the time to say hello. I have 2 finished projects this week. Yay! Feels like a while since I've had any. I guess it's maybe a few weeks. I think maybe my husband's socks, Christmas socks, might have been the last thing. In any case, I finished my winter comfort socks. Love these socks. Love the colors in them. They are knit from Fiber Nymph Dye Works. The Bounce Base in the Winter Comforts colorway. Bring it up close so you can see. Top down sock, 64 stitches on a 2mm needle. Traditional heel flap and gusset, and I think it's a wedge toe or a rounded toe. I never really know. I think it's a rounded toe. In any case, it's my usual go-to vanilla sock for myself. You know, over the years you find out what works best. So generally do either a heel flap and gusset or a yarn over short row heel. This one, I like how the stripes worked out. I ended up adding an extra 2 rows in my heel flap in order to end with the right color so that this light speckled color matched up with the one that I had ended with. So yeah, happy with those and how they turned out. So there you go, last look at those, unless you happen to visit my project pages. I actually just took a few photos, so I should be able to update a few of those pages within the next couple of days. And let's see, sitting on the corner edge of the bed here. So everything's kind of beside me and down there, and ball of yarn just went rolling across the floor, but we'll deal with that in a minute. I have another pair of socks that are finished. These are socks that I knit for my curling teammate, Jan. Oh, there goes the furnace. Sorry, gonna have that in the background. It's a little louder down here too, I think, than in my craft room. In any case, Casual Wednesday, just remember, I'm not gonna sweat it. Anyway, my teammate has a friend who dyes and spins her own yarn, And this is the third pair now that I have knit up for her out of yarn that she has brought to me. These I knit from the toe up. I found that easier on her first pair because it allowed me to get her to try them on, including the heel, so I would know if it was the right length or not. And I've just sort of kept to that same format. So these are, it's kind of like a worsted weight. I have 44 stitches, and on these I did do a yarn over short row heel, and it's about 8 inches from here to here. So I'm really happy to get these done, just to get them off my plate and be able to work on my own projects without feeling like I should be doing something else. Because I tend to feel like that when I have, you know, something on the go, a little, I guess, obligation knitting. And even though she said there's no hurry, I feel better about having them done. So happy to be able to give those to her this coming Thursday. Well, tomorrow, I guess that is. I just can't believe how fast the time goes. Not only is it midweek already, but it's March. Just goes so fast. When I was out in the front yard this morning and looking at the crocuses and such, there's some buds on the rose bush, or like not buds, but well, I guess leaf buds starting on the rose bush that I had cut back in the fall, and I'm looking forward to spring, but at the same time, I almost feel like I'm just not quite ready to let go of winter. Does that sound crazy? I love spring. Spring and fall are my favorite seasons, but winter just seemed to go by really quickly this year, and I'm just not quite ready to let it go yet. Okay, I'm going to take one of these socks, actually both of these socks, off of sock blockers because I have other socks to show you that I've been working on. The ball of yarn that just rolled across the floor belongs to this sock. I don't think I'll worry about getting it. This is the first sailing school sock by Helen Stewart. I am on the foot, about halfway down the foot of the first sock. Just gonna put it on here so I can give you a good look. It is knit in Tanis Fiber Arts Blue Label in the Shadow colorway. And it was kind of cool. The furnace stopped. I had a Tanis Fiber Arts podcast pop up on my YouTube suggestions this week, and I guess that Tanis and her husband had done a podcast previously. It's been a couple of years since they recorded, and I just happened to be knitting on the Tanis Fiber Arts yarn while watching the podcast, so that was neat. So if you had watched it in the past and didn't realize it was back, check it out. I quite enjoyed it and look forward to future episodes. I had never watched their old one. And this is the only skein of yarn I've ever had from Tanis Fiber Arts, but I am enjoying it quite a bit. So there you go. I'll bring that up close. So this is mostly stockinette, as you can see, and it has this little panel that runs up the right side of the right front of the right sock and the left front of the left sock. So liking how those are knitting up. They're really simple, but interesting enough to make them not just plain old stockinette. So enjoying those too very much. And one more pair of socks. I'm trying to think where to put these. I am really, really excited to have cast on this yarn. I bought it just before Christmas. It is from Biscot Yarns in the Bis Sock and Mom. Oh yeah, here's the front of the label. And the back of the label, it's Mon pays, c'est l'hiver. My country, it is winter. Maybe that's why I'm reluctant to let it go. That is a famous song by Gilles Vigneault, a well-known Quebecois artist, music artist, singer, songwriter, poet. And look, aren't they gorgeous? Love, love, love these. I am so happy with them. I'm going to take these with me when I go to swimming lessons today and work on them while I watch my grandson in the pool. But, oh, just love them. So happy to have started a new pair of stockinette socks. As much as I love my winter comfort socks, you know what it's like when you're just ready to be done with a project because you're looking ahead to the next one? Yeah, that's how I felt. So definitely enjoying these. All right. Wait, there's more. No more socks though. How about next? Let's talk about Zweig by Caitlin Hunter. Last time I showed it to you, I was just a few rows into the sleeve. Oops, so good. There are definitely disadvantages to recording while sitting on the corner of a bed. Let's just say that. Normally I sit in a chair and I have an ironing board in front of me, and I have containers that are stacked on either side, so I have lots of surfaces to put things on. These are just everywhere. Okay, I think that'll work. There we go. I have approximately one more pattern repeat, so 16 more rows to do on the sleeve, and then about an inch of ribbing. Now the original pattern, I forget how many inches. It has like a really long stretch of ribbing, like from, you know, here to here. I can't remember how many inches it said, but I am working my sleeves the same as the body. So yeah, I'll go down to, like I say, one more repeat and then a ribbed cuff, about an inch long. So it's also a disadvantage how you show things. Oh well. Casual Wednesday. This yarn is from Midnight Cravings Yarn Company. It is the sweet, no it's not, it's the Lush in basil, and pesto is this color. I don't know if you can tell in this light. Actually, this shows up better on the back. It's like a cream with speckles in it. And I really, really, really love this combination, and I'm looking forward to having it done and hopefully wearing it at least once before winter ends. And let's talk about Hinterland. The Hinterland saga continues. Hinterland is a sweater pattern by Jennifer Steingass. I have been working on it for the last few weeks and can't seem to get past the yoke. I am knitting it with Sweet Fiber yarns. I see no show notes. Oh, but I have my little show note book here. Sweet Fiber Super Sweet Sock in the Driftwood colorway. And then I have some minis that I'm using for the color work. Plus, part of the color work is Cashmerino 20, and I never told you the color name last week. It's Hippolyta, and it's this purpley color. So, I wanted to show this to you. Last week, this part was in this tealy blue color, and I had started this part in the purple color, and I told you I wanted to switch them. And I did, and I'm glad I did. I really, really like this final order of the colors. Sorry, it's hard to show it. I've put it onto 2 needles so it would lie flat from, you know, center front and back, but it still wants to roll up here. So it's hard to show you the color work in its entirety. Maybe that will help, hopefully. So as happy as I am with this final result, and I am, as I was knitting away on the last few rows, I think there's still about there's 4 more rows to go on the color work. And I was thinking the yoke looked rather deep, and I was concerned about that, and stopped and measured it, and sure enough, it is. I can't remember the depth that it's supposed to be. I think it's supposed to be about 8 inches, 8 or 8.5, and it's about an inch. By the time I do this, it's going to be a good inch past where it's supposed to be. And I held this up to my Birkin because that sweater fits really well, and it's definitely deeper yoke than that. I also tried it on as best I could because, of course, I don't have any armholes here yet. And it's just going to be too long. It also felt like it was a bit too wide this way. So I had gone up a needle size to do my color work, as I often do. And what I'm thinking is that if and let me just say too that I don't know how well it picks up on camera, but as I was doing color work, I feel like my tension improved, and I feel like the stuff up here is a whole lot bumpier than the stuff down here. Plus, there is an increase that the designers suggest you use instead of a make 1, and I'm not 100% happy with it. She says it lies flatter. I feel like it doesn't. So, you know where I'm going with this if you've watched this show for any amount of time, right? Yeah. I'm going to take it back. I'm going to take all the color work out, and I am going to start over with a smaller needle, and I'm going to do the increases I prefer. And I also feel like I have a better chance. I feel like doing the color work over, I will know more I think I'll know better how to handle they're in this section right down to here. In certain sections there are you're carrying 3 yarns at a time, and I feel like I want to do over in order to handle that better in this section. So for lots of reasons, I am going to take this out and rework it. I don't know that I'm going to start it again right away because we are drawing to the end of winter. Kind of have my eye on some future projects. So what I might just take it out entirely, re-wash this main yarn to get it back where it needs to go, and possibly even the minis, just to make sure everything's sprung back where it has to be and be not so kinky. And then start this over knowing what's going to work now as far as the color combinations go. So it's not goodbye forever, but it's goodbye for a while with this project. But I appreciate all the encouraging things so many of you have said about it as I've kind of worked my way through my color choices, etc. So I did, before I ripped it out, I did want to show you the yoke almost finished, and so you would get a sense of how it is going to look eventually, if not in the near future. So I'm sad to have to do that. At the same time, little things that have been bugging me for a while, and I feel like now I know where I'm going with it. So, you know, I'm at peace with that decision. And you know, most of the time I don't look at it as time wasted or anything like that. I'm, I guess, kind of pragmatic in that way. I look at it as it's a lot of time and money to invest in a project. So let's make it right so it actually gets worn and not just shoved in a drawer, or not, even worse, stuck in a bag somewhere half done and, you know, never completed. I have some of those projects, not because they've necessarily gone wrong, but I've lost interest for various reasons, and I just don't want that to be one of them. I really do like the pattern and the yarn and the combination, and now I'm excited about doing it, but getting it right when I do it. So that's it for this week's knitting projects, and now I want to share with you a few acquisitions. I, on Friday, was watching Taking Back Friday, which is Sweet Georgia Yarn's weekly podcast hosted by the company's owner, Felicia Lowe. And she unveiled the new color line for spring and summer. And I was absolutely taken by this party of five. Don't want the, try not to have the light reflect on the plastic. This is called Tofino Road Trip. And Felicia talked about how it was inspired by the trip you take along a winding road to get to Tofino, which is a small town on the west coast of Vancouver Island. And my husband and I think 4 or 5 times now, have spent some time around New Year's near either at Tofino or at Ucluelet, which is another little town south of there. We are very familiar with that little windy road and the beautiful setting there. And when I saw this, I just knew I had to own it. And I am really, I have it in mind to design something with these mini skeins. I don't want to talk too much about it, but I will say that my living room floor has all my pattern, all my stitch dictionaries spread out all over the place. I've been going through, jotting down patterns that are inspiring me. So I don't know what it's going to become yet. I have a few ideas, but that was my immediate thought when I saw it, was I need to own that, and I need to design something to go with that party of five. So I'm going to bring this closer so that the light hopefully doesn't reflect, so you can see the beautiful colors. So this is Surf Shack, Birch, Golden Hour, Seagrass, and Bison. So these 3 are new colors for spring. And then these are part of the regular line. Anyway, can't wait till I get it all sorted out and can get working on that. And then at the same time, Sweet Georgia is having their grab bag sale. They do it, I think, once a year. And I've participated a few times. Sometimes I'm happier with what I receive than others. I did make a note on my order to, if possible, please avoid primarily orange colorways, just because that seems to be what I often get. I said a little bit of orange is okay, but please no primarily orange colorways. And they were very kind and did not send me any. So one thing I ordered, you get a choice of, I think some are retired colorways or stock that's been around for a bit, and others are ones that don't come out quite as they planned. And then you have a choice of which sock base, or not which sock base, which yarn base you want, obviously depending on what they have available. So for one of them, these were like older retired colorways. I chose sock blanks because I thought that would be kind of fun. And here's what I got for that. I'm going to take them out of the plastic. So this is one that looks super fun. It's called Dragon Fruit Limeade, and it is part of, it's the same base as Tough Love sock. 80%, 20% superwash merino and nylon. And I saw this on the website. They obviously have wound it up for me. I guess I don't know if it's one that had been just unwound for a customer, or I mean, I don't know. I have no idea, but it is already unwound, so you can see it's kind of a little bit, you know, crinkly, nubbly, kinky. And what I can see from the website is this is one that goes from sort of light to dark. So rather than knit, say, a pair of socks, I will probably do some sort of item that showcases the sort of gradient aspect of it. So that I thought was really pretty and really fun. I even thought about using it for something for like a little girl. So part of me was thinking, okay, I just bought some yarn in a pattern kit. Oops, gonna lose this off my lap. I just bought yarn in a pattern to make a little sweater for my new great niece. Part of me is tempted to do something else with it instead, like this. I don't know. So stay tuned. So you get 2 in a bag. So then this one also came, and it's called Alpine. And I actually haven't opened it up to see what it's like. I thought that would be fun for you and I to discover that at the same time. Okay, so I kind of suspected it's similarly, or maybe not. Yeah, it is kind of like a gradient also. Now this is knit, it's interesting. It's in a big tube with the end knitted closed. So, sorry, I'm just looking. So I don't know if this then you could maybe unravel and have half that looks similar to the other half. Maybe this would be a good pair of socks. Like I say, I hadn't really looked at it before, so I've never had a sock blank that's sort of been double knit before. So I'm not really sure what to do with it. I guess it'll just unwind like this. I don't know. I'll let you know. I think that's how it must work, because as this end is completely closed, but it's also closed on either side. And it's just at the top here that it's joined. So I'll experiment with that and let you know. Anyway, it's cool. I like the colors. I think it's really pretty. So I was happy with that. And then just my bra here, my shirt. I also ordered like the ones that are not quite right, and ordered Tough Love sock. And so this one is gorgeous. It's called Sapphire. So I'm not sure what's wrong with it, if for whatever reason it's just not quite how sapphire is supposed to look, but I think it's really beautiful. And then this one doesn't have a name, it just has a number, FW 2021, so I don't know what that means. It's kind of, it's like a brown, but kind of like a gray. It almost looks Well, hopefully you can get a look there. It's got browns, grays. It's a really got a lot of depth to it, a lot of variation. I think it's a really nice color too. So I'm happy, definitely happy with what I got this year with my grab bags. I'm a sucker for grab bags. I usually resist getting them, but my mom will tell you that when our family traveled down to Disneyland, we all had an envelope that had some spending money in it. Some came from my parents, some came from a family friend, and some came from a neighbor. So we all had the same amount of money in an envelope, and my mom would keep track as we bought souvenirs along the way. And I bought a couple of grab bag things and, you know, like mystery packages, and wasn't happy with what I got, and so my mom bought them back from me so that I wouldn't have missed out. And then she warned me, I'm not doing that again. So whatever you get, you're stuck with. So it made me think twice about grab bags. But even so, I'm drawn to them. And so happy story this time. I think reading, I'm just continuing to read my Agatha Christie's. I have finished 450 from Paddington, and I was sad because the person who ended up being the murderer was someone I didn't want to be. I was really disappointed to find out who it was. I have to say that. And now I'm reading one called Ordeal by Innocence, and I've just begun it, but a gentleman has just made a visit to a family whose son, oh, sorry, my eyes caught. I told you it would happen. There's a cat that loves to go in the fields behind our house, and I just saw it walking by our back trees and was trying to figure out what kind of animal it was. It's just a cat. Anyway, so this gentleman makes a visit to a family, and one of the members of the family had been accused of murder, and he said it couldn't have been him because he had been picked up. He was hitchhiking. He was picked up by this guy in a car, so he wasn't where this, wasn't. He had an alibi. But no one came forward to confirm his alibi. And this is a couple of years on, and the young man died in jail. And it turns out that this man did in fact pick up this guy who was hitchhiking, and he couldn't have been where they said he was. But this man had had an accident and had a concussion. And when he woke up, he had gone on this expedition and had been out of the country for a year and a half. And when he came back, he realized what had happened, and so he's gone to the family hoping to, I guess, put their minds at ease to say, is this your brother, your son? He wasn't a murderer. But what he didn't realize was that meant that one of them were. So now the intrigue. So who did it really? It was the mother of the family, the wife, the mother that was killed. So who done it? Guess we're gonna find out. This week, I told you it was my husband's birthday on Thursday. So we went out for dinner on Friday because we were both curling Thursday and couldn't. So we had a nice dinner at a local restaurant. It's my husband's favorite. And then on Saturday, we were looking after the grandkids for a few hours. And so we thought, oh, well, since they're here anyway, why don't we see if all the kids could come for supper to celebrate Cameron's birthday. And then it turned out that my mom was going to be down for my new great niece's baptism on Sunday, and so I invited her for dinner too, so she joined us. And then kind of on a whim, I was making my husband's favorite dessert is lemon meringue pie. So I was sort of thinking I should probably make 2 of them because one might not go far enough. And then we also got a cake for the kids or whoever else didn't like pie. And so on a whim, I invited my sisters and their husbands. One sister and husband couldn't make it, but the others could, plus a couple of nephews. So we had a full house here Saturday, kind of a unexpected get together. So part of it obviously was planned, part of it was impromptu, but it was very nice. And then we had a really nice lazy day on Saturday, and the rest of the week has been pretty uneventful. So coming up, tomorrow I have a mammogram. This is my 6-month checkup after my worries in the summer. I'd had mammogram, a diagnostic mammogram, and ultrasound, and everything came out fine, but I have to do a 6-month follow-up. So that's already 6 months ago. I have a hard time believing that. So that happens tomorrow. I am not actually scheduled to curl tomorrow, but our team does have bar duty, so I'm going to go and have supper and do bar duty with my team tomorrow night. And then Cameron and I are in a bonspiel this weekend with a guy that he plays with and his wife. And it's only the second bonspiel I've been in. I had someone ask me a little bit about it. A bonspiel is like a curling tournament. It's just another word for tournament, I guess you'd say. I know we're guaranteed 3 games. So how we finish will determine whether we keep playing on or not. They have a dinner and dance on Saturday night, so that'll be fun. But that will be fun. Looks like our first game is going to be like early Friday evening. So I don't know anything after that. I think it depends on who wins that game or who loses and where you play and which team you play next. So other than the first game, the rest of the schedule's kind of up in the air. So I was gonna say I don't have high hopes. I don't have high hopes for me. I hopefully we'll click as a team and that we will at least win one. Who knows? We should have fun regardless. So I'm looking forward to that. Like I said, it's only the second time I've been in a bonspiel, and it's been a few years since the last one. So that's coming up, and can't think of anything else off the top of my head. So this is 2 Wednesdays in a row I've recorded. Not sure if I'll continue with that for a few weeks or if I'll go back to Tuesday. But in any case, barring anything unforeseen, I will be back with you again in approximately a week's time. So I hope you do well until then, are well until then, keep well until then. Yeah, have a great week. Talk to you soon.